CAPSI podcast series, Conversations on African Philanthropy.
It's our 6th year of the African Conference on African Philanthropy. Everywhere where we go, we take the opportunity to experience the place, to experience the culture, but to also showcase the country in which we are doing the conference in. But we also use the opportunity to speak to delegates, record them for our conversations on African philanthropy. So welcome to the Conversations on African Philanthropy on the Nile River, where we are shooting some of our episodes. And in the next 5 days or so, we'll be speaking to different delegates, different actors, activists, foundations, government officials, researchers, you name it all. You want to find anything to do with African philanthropy, visit our channel on YouTube and other platforms, our Conversations on African Philanthropy. Welcome to yet another exciting episode of our Conversations on African Philanthropy with me, Bhekinkosi Moyo. We are shooting this at the margins of the 6th Philanthropy Conference held here in Cairo at the American University in Cairo. It's very, very rare that I sit with a wealth of wisdom. Sometime this year, in February, the Business Day wrote, honoring 65 years of visionary nation building, the enduring legacy of Dr. Kole Shettima. Today, we pay tribute to Dr. Kole Shettima as he reaches 65 years of exceptional service to our nation's advancement. A strategic visionary and tireless proponent of progress, Dr. Shettima's path epitomizes a life devoted to empowering communities, promoting education, and advocating for social justice. Kole, welcome.
I don't know whether that is a fiction or is maybe it's an AI in Business Day. That one is a different version of AI. I don't know Business Day.
But it's out there.
Okay.
It's out there. It's in the public domain. How has it been over the past 65 years that whether it's fiction or real, is described to you?
Hey, 65 years. Yeah, I think it has been a very exciting, interesting journey, so to speak, because, for most of my life, I think I've done what I really value, issues that are dear to my heart, things that I like doing because it is also part of the values that I believe in, I stand for, and other things. And I think for you to have the opportunity to do that is a very rare privilege for me. I grew up in a very small village on the border with Niger Republic.
Yeah.
Some of our farms are in Niger Republic, and some of our relations are in Niger Republic,
Right.
and some of the people from Niger Republic, they have their own farms on site of Nigeria and other things.
Yeah.
So, in some ways, it's an interesting experience of colonial rule and how colonialism have created all these artificial boundaries.
Yeah.
And so even when, Nigeria is fighting ECOWAS and others, or ECOWAS, Nigeria is fighting Niger and vice versa, it didn't make sense to those people. What does that actually mean, to them, all those borders are imaginary things. So growing up in that community, a very marginalized community in the sense of, being out there, you get access to the town, maybe every week there's one transportation that will come in and then go out, going through a community primary school, a community secondary school. When you are going to a community school, it means that, you don't have the luxury of electricity, you don't have the luxury of anything. So you start with like a tele lamp, a gas lamp. I think when we were in our 4th year in secondary school, that is when we actually have electricity in our classrooms. And, those buildings were mainly thatch buildings. The classrooms were thatched. then you go to a zinc classroom, then you go to an asbestos classroom. When you are in Form 4, then you go to a real building. So I think for me, reflecting on that journey of life and coming to be where I am at the MacArthur Foundation, I think that is a real privilege that not many people have that one, and have been very, very grateful to have the opportunity to be of service to many, many people that I can, and interesting.
Yeah. So, I mean, before we get to your current functions and position within the foundation, I think 2 or 3 years ago, I spoke to a Kwasi Edu, who you know very well, and he used 3 terms and says, because I also spoke to him at the age where he's reflecting about his upbringing, but also, looking back to see, what has life been, what are some of the contributions and maybe limitations that life has brought. And he used 3 frames. So the one frame was hindsight. In hindsight, these are the things that maybe could have been done this way or that way, and so forth and so on. And then insight, right? And then foresight. Can I ask us to go through those 3?
Oh, I don't know.
In your case.
I don't know. Akwasi is a literary
poet.
And so I'm sure he has all kinds of frameworks that organizes his thoughts and so many things as well. So I'm not quite sure that I can can fit into the big shoes of Akwasi.
But not necessarily fitting, but surely, I mean, we can benefit from some of your experiences on for example, what you see in the future, what are the current things that we could benefit from you as insights in terms of the current world. But of course, in hindsight.
Well, I don't know. I think that one of the things that in hindsight I can talk about is, the benefit that many of us had, as young people, but young people also was, with some resources at the same time, in the sense that, we are young, but we lived in a community where I think by and large, almost everybody was the same anyway. So we never felt like really marginalized people in that sense, because almost everyone the same in other things. And I think that we were able to do a lot of things at that time. And perhaps we could have done probably also more at that time, because I believe that, especially around organizing students and organizing movements, I feel like we are probably, with the benefits of hindsight, we're a little bit naive about certain things. So, for example, I think that when there was a big debate about whether the left in Nigeria and the civil rights environment should move in, should they get engaged in partisan politics? There was a big debate. And I recall that, many of us said no, going into this bourgeois politics. We are all going to get drawn into it. We are going to suffer from it, and other things. And I'm not sure that was the correct decision now, with the benefits of the hindsight, because the people that really wanted to keep us out of the game were very happy that they kept us out of it, because now they had a control over the whole place. Now they control who gets in, who doesn't get in, and that historic. And then you can see that progressively, progressive voices are continuously marginalized in our own partisan politics. It's only the rich and the powerful people are there. in partisan politics.
Yeah.
The people who claim to want to be clean, they don't want to put their hands in dirty things and kept away from it. I think we just gave them an opportunity to do what they are doing now and continue what they are doing and other things. You know? So I think that was a big mistake in my view that we made, and I think that I know that there are a few people, 4 or 5 people who were able to go in there, and I think I can see that they have made a lot of important contributions. And if more people were there, and with this group of politicians and others, really, if you have 5, 10 determined people, they can actually make a change. Because the progressive voices usually think through things. They have a strategy. They are value-driven. They have a goal as to what they want to achieve. So they invest so much in thinking through issues, and they are able to get things done. But now we have a situation whereby all those voices are out. The people who are only in control of the situation are the politicians, the people with the money and the power, and they are doing everything they can to make sure that progressive voices, and including that of women, are shut out of our political system.
Thank you so much. I wanted to really get a bit of that reflection from you, because I think you are one of probably the few people now in this platform, the African Philanthropy Conference in Cairo now, who has actually held and been in this space for quite some time now. And I wanted to first hear about your reflections, because I think some of those have shaped the kind of politics that you yourself, as the leader in the philanthropy space, has had to carry with, but also the agendas that you and the foundation and other actors that you work with have been implementing over the years. So currently you are the director of the MacArthur office in the Nigeria office. Maybe we can talk a bit about what the foundation does and the specific programming over time that you've been engaged in, and the specific choice of Nigeria, West Africa as the focus of your grant making.
Yeah, so it's interesting how MacArthur decided on Nigeria. I mean, it's interesting because when MacArthur started the work, what happened was that was 94 when the offices were opened. So the offices were opened in Nigeria, in India, in Brazil, and in Mexico City. Those were the choices that were made. And I think that the offices were also established at the offices of the population and reproductive health programs. And I think that part of the thinking was that these are the major also population centers of the world. So how do we improve the sexual and reproductive health of these majority countries that will have a positive impact around the world? So that was really the strategic decision as to explain why those decisions were made. And of course, since that time, I think that the foundation, for example, in Nigeria, have gone through a number of programs, just as we know, other programs. So there was the Population and Reproductive Health Program. There was a big work around higher education that was done with other foundations. There was a big work that was on human rights and international justice, girls' secondary education. Then we had a program on accountability and anti-corruption. And now we are in a stage whereby we are doing another transition after working on the accountability and anti-corruption for about 8 years or so. Now we are moving into a new program. So most of this year, really, what we have been doing is to, one, we as a staff, we are writing our own reflections about the work itself. What do we think about it and other things? Then there is an external firm that have been with us since the beginning of the program. Day one of the program, we had an external evaluator. They have been working with us. They have been looking at the work as well. And then at the same time, we are developing a new program as well. So this year primarily have been a transition year for us. But as you are aware of the West Africa Democracy Fund, which about 6 of the foundations, including OSF and Ford and Carnegie and Luminate, MacArthur, have come together, which we have put together. specifically responding to the situation in the sub-region with the AES states and not so good stories in many other countries as well, you know, try to respond to those kind of situations as well. So that is what we have been doing. But you know, as you are also aware of what is also happening in the philanthropy world itself, which is a very troubling time for all of us, or most of us. I think at the MacArthur Foundation, I would say that I'm really very proud of the position of our leadership in trying to respond to the movement. The first thing they did was to increase our funding.
Right.
They said, look, if you said if defeat, if the Germans and others are cutting, withdrawing, what we should do is to increase our funding.
It's not really closing the gap, but at least
exactly. So I think there's more of the symbolic and political statement that you cannot just do whatever you want to do and other things. So I think that too was the first major statement that the foundation made. And also I think the idea also of organizing the foundations, because I think that what has happened in the US, which is unfortunate, is that the universities and the law firms were not organized. So Columbia went first, then they took this one, and then the other one, and the other one. And the law firms, they just did them. But I think that what the MacArthur did was really to rally around all the other foundations and say, look, we have to organize ourselves, and we have to respond as a collective. And as a collective, and to make the point that, you know, it is an American tradition of that, you know, we have our right. And we have to depend on our right and other things. So I think that to me is I'm very happy, but we know that, as we all know, what the foundations are doing in some ways is a
drop in the ocean.
Exactly. So I think that is a bigger challenge than we all are dealing with.
But before we probably get to the present, I'm always fascinated, you know, I study histories of philanthropies and foundations, and especially international foundations that operated in the continent. So, for example, you know, if MacArthur has been here for the past 31 years or so, there've been different, you know, variations to the context, and I always find it interesting how foundations respond to different epochs of the region or of the continent or of a particular country. So I recently did a study of the Ford Foundation in Southern Africa, and just seeing how in each decade the foundation would kind of shift its focus without necessarily changing its bigger picture, but it will shift its focus based and in times responding to contextual factors. I'm keen to hear, because you've been part of this journey with the foundation. What are the different moments within the Nigerian history, political and socio-economic, cultural, that kind of made the foundation to either respond proactively or to tweak its programming?
It's very interesting. You know, I think some of them are learning from our own experiences as well. So, for example, you know, in 2015, the foundation decided to work on accountability and anti-corruption. And at that time, on one hand, it was a convergence of factors. So the president of the foundation just sent me an email. Says, Kole, you know, we have been operating in Nigeria for all this time. All the time we decide what you should be doing and other things. So if you are now going to open the Nigeria office, what are the most important thing for your country? That's what she said. And she said, no, don't send me a 20-page document. Just send me a reflection of 1 page. That's all I need. So on that basis, then, you know, we try to talk to people, and because you can imagine when you talk to 20 people, you'll get 100 ideas.
You've got to sit down now and begin.
Exactly, sift through. But importantly, you know, that 2014-2015 period was when Boko Haram was so high in Nigeria. It was very bad. I'm not saying that it's not bad now, but it was horrible. So a lot of the people we talked to were saying, look, you know, you have to do something about Boko Haram. You know, you have to do something about Boko Haram, because even at that time, even in Abuja, people could not go to their churches,
Yes,
people
yes,
could not
yes.
go to their mosques,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
horrible and other things. So a lot of people really, really talk about Boko Haram as the number one priority,
Yeah,
that you have to deal with Boko Haram. And of course, as a foundation, there's a limit to which what we can do on Boko Haram and other things. So I was joking to them that, well, we can't go and buy AK-47 and give to people now. We can buy Boko AK-47 and give it to the people and other things, So that was the problem. The second point they made was that we have to deal with the challenge of accountability in our country. They said, look, there's a lot of corruption in this place. Duty bearers are not held accountable. So you have to do something about it and another thing. The third point they made was, lack of public services, education, health. Number 4 was, they said, look, instead of thinking of problem, think about assets. So they said, look, think about your youth as an asset. Why don't you do your programming around assets and other things? So those are the 4 big items. But insecurity was the number 1 of all the other things. So then we sat down, we reflected and other things. We thought, well, maybe accountability is a cross-section of all the things that we are really talking about. Because, if you look at the Nigerian budget, security gets all the votes. So it's not that there was no money, but someone is using the money to do something else altogether.
Not being held accountable.
Exactly, not accountable, Same with public services, whether it is education, whether it is health and others. There is a limit to how many hospitals, how many clinics MacArthur Foundation can really build. But if we are able to hold people accountable, get government to do what they are supposed to do, probably that will be a better use of our resources and other things. So it was on that bit that we said, okay, maybe what we should really be thinking about is about accountability and other things. So that was, and then at that time, Buhari came and said that he was the anti-corruption person, he was the clean person and other things. So ourselves, Ford, Open Society and others rallied around, and I think you are going to, the vice president will be here, former vice president will be here. At that time, I remember very clearly, even before they were sworn in as the administration, he called us, we sat down, we met. He said, look, I really need support, We are just coming into this government. We don't have any resources at this point. Can you people come in around and give us some support and other things? That was how we supported him and his team at that time when we set up a fund under Trust Africa to support the work that he was doing and other things, So I think that contextual changes in the space and other things, with a new president coming in, saying us, just go and figure it out and tell us the changing in the environment in terms of a new administration that is coming in, and some of the personnel that are also coming into power at that time. And then, of course, the real challenge of, the fact that people are just impunity. People are accountable. I think those are the kind of things that happen. But, so that was the context. Then there is another one, which was, let's say, our work on girls' secondary education. So we did a lot of work on higher education. And this one...
Partnership for Higher Education.
The Partnership for Higher Education, exactly. But we figured out that, especially in the northern part of Nigeria, we did not see women, girls in those universities. So, and especially also in the administration of the universities, So we said, well, what we have done on higher education is good, and it's very important, but we may also think about the pipeline that leads to that higher education itself. So that was a reflection on our own part and said, look, what are we learning from this higher education work? Yes, what we have done is good, it's important, but maybe in some parts of Nigeria, what we should be focusing on is girls' secondary education to enable them to move in that direction and other things. And as those of us who are working on population and reproductive health, we know. And I always tell people that the best vaccine for development is a vaccine around girls' education as a vaccine to our problems. Because if you look at all the measurables, whether you are thinking in terms of antenatal services, giving birth in hospitals, going to school, increasing the age at marriage, increasing the age at first birth, and everything. Really, all of these things is around girls' education.
Yeah.
If you do that one, I think you are going to be one of the best solutions. And I remember trying to go to senior governor, and we're having a conversation. He said, "Look, Kole, many people are pushing me that I should have a law to ban girls' education, to ban underage marriage."
Yeah.
He said, "Yes, I can do that. But the problem is that if I do that, I will be fighting those people who are against it.
Yeah.
I will be wasting my time in other things.
Yeah.
So why don't I provide free education, free bus services, uniform for those girls?
Yeah.
If these girls do what all this they do,
Yeah.
they will make their decisions.
Yeah.
I don't have to tell them whether they should get married at 10,
Yeah.
12,
Yeah.
13, 14.
Yeah.
That will be taken care of by itself.
They'll
in
make
other things.
informed decisions.
Exactly, they'll make their own informed decision. They don't have to wait for someone to tell them, whether you should marry. And so I think that we are also learning from what we are doing, trying to see what we are doing really. Doing what we're supposed to do.
And making an impact as well.
Are we making the impact? And so I think that is the. So my attitude all this work is that, look, what are we learning from these things? What can we do differently? And I think that is my approach.
And that's a good segue for me to talk to you about what you said in the beginning. You are at a point where you are all writing reflection, memos and papers, and one would be probably wanting to say, for the period that the foundation has been working in Nigeria, either through international grants first and then setting up the office, what would you probably single out as some of the key pivotal success points? And I'm sure they are actually already in your reflection memo as we speak.
I don't know, Keresins. But Becky, for me, why sometimes I go to bed and sleep is because not of the big things, but the small things. So I recall we are doing some work on school feeding. I think going to a school and seeing this girl who had a loaf of bread with egg. Then she decided to share it into two. She put the other one in the pocket and it was eating the other one. So I asked her, loaf of bread, why are you sharing into her the egg? And they said, because she has siblings at home. And she wants to take the bread to those siblings at home. So I just feel like sometimes we focus on the too many big things in the world and forgetting that in life, sometimes what really makes the difference is the situation of this small girl. That she's able to come to school and get a lunch. And that lunch, she's not going to eat alone, but she's going to share it with her siblings at home. I mean, what kind of thing can you be more impactful than seeing how, of course, it's not something we can do in our metrics in all kind of things. But I think that
and in philanthropy, that's how at times we make the biggest mistakes, because we are looking at how to measure, how to count the numbers, forgetting that at times it's that little moment where, from a behavioral change perspective, you can see that this particular person has been impacted. Not only is she benefiting as an individual, but she's also thinking of the larger community. And I see that it's an important point for you. It makes you feel emotional. And that's the beauty, Kole, of having been in this space and witnessed it all. So thank you for the work that you do.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. We are here, of course, still dealing with the same issues that you have seen over the past 30-something years, philanthropic issues. They are not going away.
Yeah.
If you were to look into the future, of course, we're talking about the benefit of wisdom. What would be some of the key areas that you would advise philanthropists, both international and local, that are working on the continent to really, really focus their investments and attention on?
I think on people, I just feel that sometimes, so the story of this girl is what makes me happy because it touches on the material condition of the people.
Yeah.
It's not some
Fancy
esoteric
numbers and all of those
esoteric
things.
ideas about things.
Yeah.
What are we doing that really touches on the lives of ordinary people?
Yeah.
I tell people that, look, I'm not interested. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm not interested in working on accountability because I want either section A or B of something. That's not my interest.
Yeah.
What I'm interested is, if there is supposed to be water in a community, do these communities have the water or not? That's why we're doing the thing we're doing.
Yeah.
We are doing it because we want to make sure that ordinary people have access to the thing that even government said is going to do.
Yeah.
We're not even asking government whether this is right or wrong, but you made a commitment that you go to hospital, you're going to give birth, there's going to be medication for you so that you don't die out of hemorrhage or something like that. So I think that we at the end of the day, I think we always have to question, what does that mean to the ordinary people?
Yeah.
All these things that we are doing, whatever we are doing, I think, what does it mean to the ordinary people? So I think that as we are doing this work we are doing, we are spending all these millions and billions of the people. At the end of the day, I think it should not be some esoteric ideas. It's not something up there.
Abstract.
Yeah. But it has to be about ordinary people. How does it change their life? How does it improve their life?
Yeah.
What are we doing? So I hope that our people in the philanthropic world will always think that the last miler is the ordinary person. And how do we make the connection in terms of whatever we do?
Yeah. But do you think at the moment, philanthropists, and I use the term loosely, because I know it's a whole field of local, international, regional, and whatever, but also different expressions, foundations, trusts, and individual giving. Do you see them making that connection with the last miler?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I just feel that we develop new programs, we develop new ideas, but I wish we start with the last human being, the ordinary people, and then see how that connects to those ideas. Because I think that is when we do that, that's when I see the importance of what we are doing. But if we start from the big ideas and then we are then trying to figure out where all those people are, I think that is where the problem is. And I think that we as philanthropists and what we do, I hope that the first question that we should ask ourselves in development studies is how does it affect the ordinary person? Then you can from that should be the starting point, and then you can develop all your theory, hypothesis, whatever you do, from that point to me is what make the difference.
So you are also with Big Bet Nigeria.
Yes.
And I'm raising that now because the points that we are raising are already leading us into saying, what are the big bets here? Because all of us can come with all sorts of ideas, investments, interests, but it has to come down to big bets. Maybe let's talk a bit about the big bet Nigeria and what the big bets are for you.
I will answer it in two ways. I will answer it in terms of how the MacArthur Foundation have approached the idea of the big bets.
Yeah.
And I think that the whole idea was, look, how can we put big money behind some ideas that can change the world?
Yeah.
I think that is,
Yeah.
at the end of the
Basically
day,
the
that's
thrust,
what it
yeah.
means. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it means and other things, you know. And I think that, but we have also learned that probably we should not be thinking in terms of 9-year, 6-year period.
Yeah.
Because some of the challenges of the world are such, you know, insurmountable, and the context may change,
Yeah.
and therefore many of your assumptions and other things may not actually hold right.
Yeah.
And therefore you have to reassess yourself and see how do you do this work in a way that, you know, it is in a way that, you know, allows you to learn, adjust, and make the things as well as, you know. So for me, if I am, I hope, I want to approach, if I have the opportunity of approaching the work in Nigeria, I think that I will start from an asset approach, asset-based approach.
Asset-based approach.
Yeah. What is it that in Nigeria that is there that we can build on to make the country better? And not from a deficiency perspective.
Yeah.
So I think that to me is one of the things that, for me, so when I look at everything that is happening in Nigeria, and there are many, many problems, and there are so many assets as well. So for me, I think is to look at what are the assets that are there in the country that we can really tap on and other things.
Yeah.
And I think that this conference, I think what we have had in many of the conferences, and some of them your students have been talking about our youth. Our youth. People have been talking about 60% of the population, 70% of the population and other things. And of course, I know that, you know, people tend to focus on, you know, youth as drug addicts, street gangs, 419, internet fraud, all those things. And those things happen, you know, but that is not the only story of the youth.
There's a positive story.
There's also a story of the youth. So for me, the question is, how can we then harness, how can we bank on, how can we work with those ordinary people, and especially in rural places, in urban slums? Because, you know, when we think about youth, you know, sometimes we don't think about those who are in the urban slums and others who are just as disadvantaged, but actually they may even have more grievances because they can see what is happening elsewhere on the streets. They can, you know, this is their house and this is the house of the other people. So they can just, they know their problem, their problem with other people. So they are, as, you know, so in rural areas, a lot of rural areas, you know, you are all poor. Okay. You can live with that one.
There's some form of equalization.
Exactly.
In your state.
Equalization in poverty.
In poverty,
you know? But when you are in an urban poor and you see what is happening to your neighbor and what is done, you must be very angry. So for me, I think that, you know, so to think about, okay, where are the assets of our communities, and how do we really invest in those communities and the assets? And I think that the youth of our communities are our assets. And think about, you know, how do we really work with those youth will be, for me, I think it's one of the things that I think we should be thinking about.
Definitely. I mean, like you said, most of the projects that we are doing right now in the 17 countries are really telling us and showing us the different material conditions of the same youth categories, but in different margins. So you've got youth who might be living just across each other, but their material conditions are completely different. So their conceptualization of dignified and fulfilling work are not the same. And so it's really, really, you know, understanding what we have in our communities, the vibrancy that the young people bring, but also understanding the differences among them and tapping into their potential as young people. So as we draw to a close, Kole, I know that you have also spent a greater part of your time and life reflecting from a research perspective. Maybe let's just touch on 2 or 3 of your favorite research topics.
I don't know.
I saw that you are published in different journals and
platforms.
I
know. I talk about myself as a bureaucrat now.
Yeah,
I write 2-page memo.
Yeah.
That's it. Nothing more than that one.
If we had more time, I would want to understand how you made a transition from being a professor and lecturer in different universities, different contexts, and different countries.
That's true.
To becoming a bureaucrat who produces only 1 page.
Well, one of them that I think is, for me, I really want us to spend time, and you people are also spending time, is around faith-based philanthropic work. Because I think that, in our communities throughout the continent, people deeply care about their faith. And people also give because of their faith. And therefore, I think that we should pay attention to that and think about, how do we really develop this sector? How do we help to improve it? And how do we make it? I mean, we're here in Egypt. And, if you look at the history of some of the famous places in Egypt, all of them were established through endowments that were established through philanthropic endowment, faith-based. So this is a very important and critical, I think, assets that our societies have. Maybe we have to think of organizing it differently. I think that is possible. Maybe the administration of those kind of things will now have to be different. I think that is possible. But I think that as we are talking about diversified income and income streams and others for this sector that we deeply care for, I think we have to be thinking of, where. And so I don't know whether this is true or not, but I'm told that like 60% of healthcare services in Nigeria are given by the Christian community through their churches and other things. I don't, it may not be 60%, but still, it tells you the numbers is a very big, strong number. So we cannot in any way really ignore them. Because they are doing a lot of good work. Maybe they can be structured differently. Maybe they can do some things differently and other things. So I think certainly, that is something that I think I care very much about, and I think that is something that I think we should really deal with and support and other things. So that is one. Is there a second one? Let me think about a second one. Well, I think that for me, the conversations around girls' secondary education, I am very, very particular about it, because I remember vividly when the decision was to be made as to whether should I go to school or not. I think one of the things that I remember my brother was saying was that, look, well, he's not a girl. I mean, he's not a girl, so he can go to school. And I think that I think we touched on it before. The fact for me is that really investing in girls' secondary education as a vaccine for development is so critical and so important. But I think we have to pay attention to quality and employment. Because I can see now many of our parents who will make a rational decision not to send their girl to school. Not because they don't know the importance of it, but because they know that the girl will go to the school, she will come out unemployed, may not even be able to write a letter. And so as a parent, you are making a rational decision, and as a poor person who is also looking at opportunity cost, I can understand why parents will not be sending their girls to school. So for me, I think that this is so important factor that we need to be speaking about, doing the research to show
yeah.
the evidence that parents are making a rational choice.
Yeah,
They are looking at opportunity cost.
yeah.
And therefore, these poor people are not just dumb, stupid people who are not doing that, but we need to pay attention.
So the question is also, how do we then meet them somewhere to give them the necessary support?
Exactly.
So that their rational decisions don't end up disempowering the
girls
forever.
I think we need to.
Yeah. Kole, thank you so much for making the time. I know this is just... it's like it's just scratched the surface, and I'm very positive that part of what you are doing now is really putting all of these experiences, thoughts together in some form of either a book or a documentary.
Well, Tandai said he loves writing. I'm surprised that Tandai said he loves writing. I said, Tandai, you love writing? I don't know.
Yeah. But honestly, you know, one of the things that I'm really fascinated about, and I'm trying to facilitate that for other experienced leaders like yourself and others, is through CAPSI and our other partners to find ways of, you know, having fellowships for people like yourselves, you know, after so many years in this space, to take some time out and just reflect and write whatever you can, and if there are ways of working with our students and some of our writers to really document some of your experiences and put them into either a volume or into a documentary. I mean, these days it's even much easier. We can just sit for days and do something like this. So we can talk about this, I mean, outside the podcast, but I would really be excited to hear more of the experiences that we've just shared in this short space of time. I mean, there are so many things that I took away from our conversation, but one that really stands out is educating a girl is a vaccine for development. I think there's nothing that captures the importance of a girl education than that statement. Educating a girl is a vaccine for development. Quotable quotes from Kole Shettima. Thank you so much, Kole.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. That was Kole Shettima with the MacArthur Foundation office in Nigeria. He is the director of the office. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.
You've been listening to the CAPSI podcast series, Conversations on African Philanthropy.